O'Reilly here. Welcome to the No Spin News, Tuesday, April 12th, 2022. Stand up for your country. Busy broadcast tonight. We'll have an update on the collapsing American airline industry. Not American Airlines per se, all of them. So we'll have an update on that. We've got two guests, a former Border Patrol chief, because that border situation is about to get a lot worse. And Monica Crowley has got a new podcast, so we're going to talk with Monica. But first, the Biden administration simply cannot seem to solve any problems, and that is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. Again, we are not ideologues here. We are not Republicans here. We are people who want the strongest country possible and want you to prosper. That's where we come from. So this morning, the Consumer Price Inflation Index hit the highest in 40 years in March. 8.5% up from 7.9 in February. So this inflation continues to get higher. The Biden administration has no solution. The only thing they've done is they release some oil from the U.S. oil reserves. How that works is they put the oil on the open market. Oil companies buy it, and then they bring it out to you. But it's way too small to make a difference on national gas prices, all right? So anyway, 40-year high in inflation. It pretty much dooms the Democratic Party for the midterms. But here is the excuse the Biden administration puts forth. Go.
So because of the actions we've taken to address the Putin price hike, we are in a better place than we were last month. But we expect March CPI headline inflation to be extraordinarily elevated due to Putin's price hike.
Putin's price hike. So that was yesterday. And then she said, well, we're going to be better than March. That's not true. Better than February. So it's up 0.6%. So, look, Ms. Psaki, with all due respect, I hope she goes to MSNBC and has a swell time over there with her compatriots. She doesn't know what she's talking about. She knows nothing about macroeconomics. She is a puppet. She spouts out what they in the White House, Ron Klain, and the other advisors to Mr. Biden, not Biden himself, he's simply befuddled, but they tell her, here's what you say, Jen, and she says it. So, but I figured it's Putin's fault, by the way. All of the inflation, which started long before Putin invaded Ukraine, it's Putin's price hike. Yeah, Putin. Okay, the second thing is the collapse of border security. So I just want to give you a few stats. I want to overwhelm you. But in 2019, under Trump, about 977,000 migrants were encountered by Border Patrol. All right, last year, that went up about 1 million to 1,734,686. So you can see tremendous, even in the age of COVID, tremendous surge across the southern border. Now, this year is going to be worse. So far in the fiscal year, and that's only 5 months, about 850,000. So we could break the record easily, and we will, because now is the migrant time. The winter in the desert and in central Mexico, a little cool. But now spring is here. So there's going to be a new surge, and we'll get to that in a moment. Drug seizures. All right, January of this year, 50,000 kilos seized. February, 61,000 kilos. You get a sense of trend? This is just seized. I guess maybe 15, 20% of drug smuggled from Mexico gets seized. All right, and you can see because of the open border, because of lax border policies, this is happening. Biden isn't responsible for Ukraine. And remember, this Talking Points memo is about Biden's failure to solve any problems. He can't solve Ukraine, but he's not making it worse. He's doing what he should do, in my opinion, there. But his performance in Afghanistan stimulated people like Putin and Xi in China and North Korea because he looks so weak. Then you have the skin color, gender fluidity factor. So the Biden administration encourages hiring, promotion, distribution based on skin color and gender fluidity. Okay, that means that certain groups get favorable treatment by the federal government, something the founders did not want. And this is Joe Biden. So all in all, you have a total failure at this point in history, and it's not arguable. The people who say it isn't true don't want to know the truth. Remember, we always go back to people believe what they want to believe. And you can present a million facts to them, but they're going to believe what they want. However, most of the country has turned against Joe Biden at this point in history, and that is the memo. So the president went to Iowa today to talk about how to lower costs for working families. And he's banging the drum about the Putin price hike again. And this is just, I'm sitting there going, this is so transparent, this propaganda. But I guess maybe there's somebody who believes it. If you believe it, please write to me, bill@BillO'Reilly.com, bill@BillO'Reilly.com, name and town if you wish to believe it's Putin's price hike. All right, let's go to the border. So there is a new poll by Rasmussen out. All right, it's a fair poll. 33 Republican, 35 Democrat, 32 Independent. First question, how do you rate the way President Biden is handling issues related to immigration? All right, excellent 12, good 20, fair 12, poor 52, net 32, good, net 64, bad, a double. Oh, that's terrible. Second question, is the problem of illegal immigration getting better or worse? Better 14. Who are those people? 14. Worse 55. About the same 27. How important will the issue of immigration be in the congressional elections in November? Net important 77, unimportant 19. And I will tell you that after we see the next 4 months, and I don't even know if the corporate media, the corrupt corporate media will cover, but surely pictures will get out. So let's bring in Rodney Scott. He's a retired U.S. Border Patrol chief. He's in San Diego. A little background. He ran a Border Patrol from February 2020 under Donald Trump until August 2021. So he did work in the Biden administration. He is now retired. And he, as I said, come to us from San Diego. So the big question is, I mean, everyone knows that Joe Biden does not want stringent border control. You know it, I know it, everybody watching. Why? Why doesn't he want it?
Well, thanks for having me on, Bill. And that is the question of the day, because how you started out, to solve a problem, you actually have to try. And this administration has done nothing to actually secure the border or slow down the flow. So there has to be an underlying issue. I try not to desire, right? I try not to speculate. I think there are some that just have this utopian mindset that you should be able to go wherever you want, whenever you want. But a lot of people in the Biden administration, like Secretary Mayorkas, they've been around before. They know the implications of these decisions. They're making them intentionally, and they've completely devastated border security across this nation. And it is a real threat.
Okay, now would I be correct in saying that every Border Patrol agent from Brownsville to San Diego, Chula Vista, would know that they are being overwhelmed? Would there be anybody in the Border Patrol at all who say, no, we have it under control?
Absolutely not. And this is not a partisan issue. I was in the Border Patrol a little over 29 years, and every administration ebbed and flowed on how much they focused on border security. But border security was consistently getting better and better and better until January 21st. And then effective programs, the border wall construction, everything was shut down. The dialogue changed. And then literally anybody trying to slow down the flow, their suggestions are stymied right now. There's no effort whatsoever to control the border. Okay. Agents are overwhelmed. Huge sections of border go unmanned every day now, and that was not taking place before.
And that makes it easier to smuggle narcotics into the country, and we're seeing that by the overdose deaths. So walk us through, Mr. Scott, and we really appreciate your candor and honesty tonight. Joe Biden comes in, he's sworn in. First day, he knocks out the return in Mexico policy, which made it easier for the Border Patrol to send people back who wanted asylum. Now, in May, he's going to knock out the COVID policy, Title 42, which again helped the Border Patrol get people back into Mexico. Now, were you ordered? Did someone call you? Was it an email? Was it a fax to you to say the Border Patrol policy is now changed because I, Joe Biden, am president and I want a different look? Did you get something like that? How did it go down?
Actually, all of the above. Within minutes of the Biden administration or President Biden being inaugurated, our new chief of staff showed up, a political appointee, and made it very clear they were there to make sure that the Border Patrol complied with the presidential directives, which that's how they all operate. But the weird things was immediately communication was shut down, and then the executive orders started rolling out. And I do want to clarify for everybody, the migrant protection protocols that remain in Mexico program, all that did was switch. It added due process to the front end of the asylum process, and then they didn't get the prize. They didn't get released into the U.S. until a judge made a decision.
Right.
Under the current process, they get released first, and the
right
judge
away,
hears the case later.
Flown in the middle of the night to places, bus to places, taxpayer picks it up. But federal judges, and as you know, Mr. Scott, have ruled that Biden is what he's doing is unconstitutional. He's got to go back to the Remain in Mexico policy. The Biden administration says, oh, yeah, we're doing that. Is that true?
So by the technicality of the law, I guess it is true. But what they leave out is they fundamentally changed the program. Where we were putting thousands of people into that program a day, the Biden administration now puts about 54. They lowered the bar for allowing people into the U.S., and they changed the demographics of who can be in. Now it's restricted to single males, and they gutted the entire policy. So
okay,
they're
let me stop
meeting
you
the
there.
technical law, but it's not effective.
Interesting. So if they have gutted this whole policy that Trump had of making it much harder for foreign nationals to enter this country illegally, if the Biden administration has done that, and you can prove it, I can prove it, everybody can prove that they have done it. Again, we go back to the initial question. This is hurting them in the polls. We just read the poll. I think it'll be one of the deciders to throw the Democrats out of power in the November election. I don't know whether Joe Biden is cognizant enough to understand what's happening. Do you have an opinion on that? Do you think it's people behind him? Because he doesn't have a history of being an open border guy, but now he's an open border guy. Is this just a revelation? What the deuce is going on?
Yeah, that's another great question. From my firsthand experience in the Biden administration, the political appointees, the non-confirmed political appointees had an undue amount of influence and power. I didn't get to interact with the Biden administration as far as Biden or the vice president at all. They refused to address anything border security or come meet with us. The highest level I dealt with was the Secretary of DHS. And I saw the secretary make some decisions, lean forward, and then somebody behind the scenes corrected him and put it back. And then
It's
basically
unbelievable.
we have this open border
All right,
today.
I've got it now. I don't even think Biden, he's never been down at the border in his presidency, correct? Biden's not been down there, right?
Not to my knowledge whatsoever.
And Harris was down there for about an hour in El Paso, and then she split for California, correct?
She didn't go to the border. She flew in and out of El Paso. You cannot claim that that's a border visit. That's disingenuous.
So they don't care. I mean, the bottom line is that the evidence overwhelmingly shows that the Biden administration doesn't care who enters the country, who brings narcotics into the country. They don't care. Fair statement?
It's almost worse than that because they're putting an effort to make the border more open. It's not like they're just being neutral. They're tearing down effective programs. So they actively want these people into the country.
It's amazing. All right, Mr. Scott, thank you very much again. We appreciate it. And if you get any other information, please let us know because once this COVID thing is lifted in May, you're going to see a flood, migrants all over the place, caravans all over the place. This is going to become a major story again. It really hasn't ever stopped being a major story, but it'll become more visible. Thanks again, Mr. Scott. Hey, if you're waiting for the federal government to fix our nation's problems, it's time to face reality. The hard truth is, solutions rarely lie in the hands of those with power. Federal government is broken. It's up to us, we the people, to call a convention of states to propose constitutional amendments, new ones, that put the federal government back in its place. Amendments can slap term limits on Congress, curb spending, get the government out of our daily lives. So please join me and my friend Mark Meckler by signing the petition at conventionofstates.com/bill. This is the only Constitution solution that can bypass President Biden and Congress to save our republic in the future. So please go to conventionofstates.com/bill. Join more than 5 million Americans in 18 states already calling for a convention of states. I support the convention because now is the time to end the swamp's tyranny and get our country back on track. Please visit conventionofstates.com/bill. Okay, airline follow-up, as you may know if you watched us last night, and if you missed it, please go to BillO'Reilly.com. If you're premium or concierge members, you can see the show anytime. JetBlue is falling apart. We're the nation's biggest air carrier. So is Alaska Airways. They can't get the flights off the ground. They are bringing people to the airport. People are suffering. People can't get where they want to go. There's no regulation by Pete Buttigieg, the transportation secretary, who is an affirmative action hire based upon his lifestyle choice. And it's a bad, bad situation. Now, this is like the border. So the federal government knows it's happening. The stats are there. And they didn't do anything about it. Okay? Won't fix it. Buttigieg won't fix it. Doesn't try, just like the border. So the update is that we have a piece of tape taken from a JetBlue flight that landed in Newark after a very turbulent air hit the flight. And the passengers obviously wanted to get off the plane. JetBlue would not let them go.
Look, man, I'll do something crazy. You can arrest me. I don't want to go back up in the air.
Yeah, but do me a favor, no.
Officer,
Hey, just sit down.
officer, my kids are panicking. People are sick back there. We gotta get off this
I don't
plane.
want to be on this plane.
It's dangerous. We tried to land 4 times already. It's dangerous. We're scared to fly. We want to get off.
Take me to jail. I don't
Please,
care.
I don't want to go to jail, but it's not right. We're 6 hours. It's a 3-hour flight. It's not your fault. It's not their fault. We just want to get off.
I don't give a fuck.
I don't care about JFK. It's our lives.
I don't want to go up.
It's our lives. I'm sorry.
Obviously, it was dramatic.
People are
He
sick
wasn't
back
on the
there.
flight.
People are fainting. People are throwing up. A little respect for human beings. How long can we sit on this crap? I held myself in long enough. It's not right. Everybody wants to get the hell off.
Well, they wouldn't let them off the plane. They had to go to JFK because they said customs was not available in Newark International, which I find extremely hard to believe, because if there was an emergency, if somebody attacked the cockpit, you would have federal agents all over the place. So again, this is JetBlue, and they blame it on somebody else, as they always do. Always. It's always somebody else's fault. It's never JetBlue's fault. Okay, again, I said Alaska Airways, there's a disaster out on the West Coast. They fly all over the place, but just beware. If you have to book a flight, beware. It is terrible. Pete Buttigieg, ridiculous, absurd. The former mayor of South Bend, Indiana, runs the transportation department. Come on. This is, again, the Biden administration. January 6th committee, as you may know, they have evidence, they say, for a criminal referral of Donald Trump. They say he incited the riot on January 6th. They don't have nearly enough evidence to convict him of anything. It's all bull. It's all politics. New York Times loves this. They reported this. And again, anonymous sources, people involved in the discussions. Okay, fine. I don't doubt that somebody told the New York Times, oh, we have evidence, we can refer him for criminal, blah, blah, blah. Not going to happen, because it would be another impeachment, which was, everybody knows, was a joke. And, you know, how many times are you going to bring Trump in on bogus charges? Now, the committee, the January 6th committee in the House, public hearings in May and June, they'll do everything they can to take Trump off the board. Everything. Final report in September. New poll by Rasmussen, Biden or Trump better for America? Fair poll again. Question, which would be better for America if President Joe Biden is reelected in 2024, if former President Donald Trump is reelected again, or if somebody else is elected president. Biden reelected 28%. Donald Trump elected again 42%. This according again to Rasmussen. Somebody else 27%. Second question, has Joe Biden's presidency been good or bad for the USA? Good 34, bad 52. Not made a difference 11. Okay. So in this poll, Rasmussen, Trump would be better. As you may know, inflation is out of control thanks to the policies of this administration. Retirement accounts are especially vulnerable now. When inflation goes up, your savings goes down. Protect your hard-earned wealth against inflation. Please call the people I trust at American Hartford Gold. They will show you how to protect your savings by diversifying your portfolio with physical gold and silver. They are the highest rated firm in the country with an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau and thousands of satisfied clients. Takes just a short phone call, and they will deliver physical gold and silver right to your door or put inside your IRA or 401k. Plus, tell them Bill O'Reilly sent you, and they will give you up to $2,500 of free silver on your first order. So please don't wait. Call 866-501-5201. 866-501-5201 or text Bill to 65532. Again, 866-501-5201 or text Bill to 65532. Okay, here's the final thought of the day. You're not going to see a lot of reporting on the airline's collapse on the corporate media, the corrupt corporate media. Why? Why won't you see a lot of it? Because the airlines advertise on those networks a lot. They're never going to criticize them. That is why you're with me on the No Spin News on 77 WABC Common Sense. That is why you are here. We are not beholden to anyone. We will tell you the truth about everything. This airline thing, every media company should be pounding it because it's hurting you. They won't. They want the money from the airlines. This is a very important final thought of the day. Think about it. Spread the word. BillO'Reilly.com. No Spin News should be in every American home because we are living in very troubled times. You need to know the truth. We'll see you tomorrow. Supply chain issues have been a catalyst in bringing high-tech manufacturing back to the USA. My tech expert and founder of Brownstone Research calls it the Great Recalibration, and he discusses it in his newsletter, Near Future Report. For the past 35 years, he has helped his subscribers safely navigate volatile times, and he also answers your most pressing questions, like how to protect your money from inflation. What are the implications of a new digital currency and the Great Reset? What will the Fed do with interest rates? And what is expected from the stock market in 2022? Brownstone Research has been at the forefront of nearly every major market move for the past 35 years. Let Jeff Brown help you by signing up for his newsletter today at a 75% discount. It's a 12-month subscription for only $49. Please go to jeffbrowntech.com. jeffbrowntech.com. jeffbrowntech.com.
Bill O'Reilly is back on TV and only on The First. No Spin News, every weeknight at 8 p.m. Eastern, only on The First.